Hey everybody, here we are live from Spring, Texas. It's Behind the Scope LLC with your host Fred Shuffler and myself, Rob Reese. I'm glad that you decided to join us this beautiful morning. Here in Spring, it's about 57 degrees, a little blustery outside, and very, very humid. It's kind of cold. It was tough following the dog around this morning outside in the backyard. It's a little wet. Outside of that, it's just nice to be on the right side of the dirt. Isn't that right, Fred?
Ah, yes. Nice spring day.
Nice spring day. So I want to thank everybody for showing up on our channel, over 230,000 subscribers. If it wasn't for you, we wouldn't be able to do this. So thank you all so much. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thumbs up our videos, please. You got a thumbs up, so it helps us with our channel. Having said that, we've got some interesting things going on this week. A little something interesting that happened out in El Paso. Well, before we get into that, Fred has a balloon story that he'd want to share with you.
Well, they're both very much related. And we go back to when we went into Desert Storm. Your first line controllers, your military controllers, were busy over in Iraq with the war there. So your less seasoned controllers were in our air defense groups. I was working a midnight shift. I was the midnight supervisor, and about an hour or two into it, I get a call over the hotline from a military controller, an air defense controller, talking about an active scramble. And his active scramble, had two F-16s coming out of Ellington Air Force Base, and he had targets bearing about 180 degrees and about 300 miles, but his speed was like 25 knots, which did not make any sense. I don't think we're going to be attacked by anything moving at 25 knots. And the F-16s were out at the end of the runway, ready to launch. And after we discussed it, they didn't launch, but they were out there loaded and ready. And about an hour and a half later, Mr. Super Energy comes in again with another active scramble, but this time coming out of Navy Calendar. And this time we don't discuss it too much. The target's 200 degrees and 300 miles, and again, speed was like 30 knots, but they launch. So I run down and tell my controllers they're coming, just clear the airspace and, let them go. And they make the run down there, and as they make an intercept on the first target, again, we didn't see it on our radar, but they had it on theirs, as the aircraft intercepts the target and goes by it, his transmission was, "It looks like Mickey Mouse." So apparently it was a Mylar balloon, and I guess Mylar is like aluminum. It will show up on a radar scope. And they went past that, then they went for the second target, and as they go by it, he says, "Mickey Mouse 2! Oh, nice picture behind. Anyways, so they ran an attack on two balloons. I don't want to think how much it cost us to do that, but it was done already. Later on in the shift, as I started to write up the report, and just as I was writing it, I got a call from Air Defense commanders. They wanted to talk about the situation, and we agreed not to put the first Ellington launches in the report because they never really got off the ground. But we did put it in the report later on about the ones coming out of Navy Calendar and with Mickey Mouse 1 and 2. So now we have this situation last week out at El Paso, and a TFR, which is a sterilization of airspace.
Temporary flight restriction.
Yes.
Temporary flight
Temporary,
restriction.
yes, temporary flight restriction came out, and it was to clear the airspace around El Paso. But this affected your commercial traffic, but they also didn't give a reason, but they did do it for 10 days, which is a real long time to do that. And the media reported it, but didn't have much information. About 2 hours later, all of a sudden the restriction was lifted, but again for no reason. And about 2 or 3 hours after that, the media came out with a report that this had all been done due to drones being detected coming across the border, and they were worried about what these drones could do. As it turned out, an hour or so later, it was brought up that it wasn't really a drone, but it was a party balloon. So I guess Mickey Mouse 1 and 2 have cousins from many years later.
Well, that's funny. I wonder, it's a good thing those F-16s didn't try following that. I don't know what the stall speed is on a F-16, but I'm sure it's not 25 or 26 knots. Well, that's interesting because also this past week we had somebody enter restricted airspace at the or TFR that the president was just about ready to depart in, and that individual ended up getting a nice visit from an F-16. A guy dropped in front of him, and then he released flares, and then I'm sure that pilot released something else and decided that he ought to get on the ground. But that was a good story, Fred.
Yes.
Anything else, Fred?
No, I think you wanted to talk about some new...
Oh, nothing new. What I wanted to bring up was the National Airspace System information that you could find out online. So behind me I have the FAA page, and on this FAA page you can find what's going on at the different airports. And this is at FAA.gov. So you can see it's Fort Lauderdale over here. They have departure delays averaging 15 minutes, and you could pull up and read the details on that. Over at Laredo, wow, Laredo, the airport is closed, so you won't be going into Laredo, except for scheduled aircraft. I don't know why. We have San Diego closed, and all of these other aircraft or airport that you might be traveling to are on this page. So if you're getting a delay, you might want to take a look and see what's going on. And then if you also want, there's this map version that you could pop up. And here's the key up here, so you can see the airport closures, Las Vegas and San Diego. You can see arrival delays going into Miami. Another closure over here. And then what else do we have? We have, looks like ground delay in Frisco. So I was thinking that just might be some interesting information for you. And speaking of interesting information, well, I tell you, you could be really smart looking in the morning or around your friends if you were modeling one of these great cups right here. I mean, look at how beautiful this is. And if you really want to get detailed and be kind of pretentious around your friends, you could get one. Well, you won't move like that with the cup, but you can get one that looks like this with your history on the back. On a nice little cup, mug, tumbler, little top. You can even drink out of a straw if you'd like. Then down here, you'd be able to get yourself a nice t-shirt in white or black. And we even have this kitty size if you want. Look at how beautiful that is. You imagine your child sporting this wonderful shirt, and he could always have his friends hit the QR code here, and it'll tell them all about it. You can get one of these fabulous books online that tell you all about the FAA and the history behind it, and it's up to date. Also, you can model one of these beautiful black shirts, the kind that I'm wearing right here. I know it's got a little pixelation going on. That's due to our quick lighting change this morning. We had a light go out, so we're keying in a little bit difficultly today. And then imagine, on your table, you bring your friends over, and you have this beautiful set of coasters out there that you could... Can you tune that up a little better, Malcolm, on the green screen maybe? Soften it up so that they can see these lovely coasters. There we go. Yes, there they are. Isn't that fabulous? And this logo, our logo, was designed by Fred's wife, Peggy. She did such a wonderful job, didn't she? I love the colors. And also on here, you could just, if your friends are asking you how do you get there, you could just hit that QR code. And I can tell you this, if you have another QR code that you'd like to have on there, maybe you'd want me to put your webpage on there. I can make you a QR code for your webpage and put that on there instead of ours. That way at your coffee table you can say, hey, check out my coasters. It even has my QR code on it for my webpage. So if you're so inclined, please look us up. Go to our post in the post section, the community section, and find our webpage, the Behind the Scope LLC regular webpage, not the YouTube channel, but the webpage, and you can go to our shop and you can purchase these items online there.
Okay.
How about that, Fred? Did you know that they launched yesterday? Wasn't it yesterday? They launched
SpaceX.
2 days ago. Successful launch.
Yes. Back to astronauts back to the space station, so now they have a full staffing contingency.
Yeah, I find that they said that they're going to be going to the moon in about a year. Now that is amazing.
Well, the Artemis rocket, they've been rescheduled. I think they're up to number 8. And when the Artemis launches, it'll have 4 astronauts on it. And the first mission is to go around the moon. And I think the second one is for a landing.
And isn't there a company that has robots building stuff on the moon at this time? I know that it was working for Japan.
Yeah.
LUNC was the symbol on the stock exchange, but they're actually successfully building products on the moon for people to inhabit, right?
Yeah.
And are we going to be using them too, you think?
I think SpaceX has projects going on. And if you go down to Boca Chica, you can see, last time I saw it, there was a picture of 6 rockets lined up there. At the Kennedy Space Center, you have one big vertical assembly building to stack rockets and put them in, and that's where Artemis sleeps. But down at Boca Chica, they don't have that, but the rockets were designed to handle any kind of weather that comes in.
Okay.
And they do plan on launching them in pretty big progressions. Also, Blue Origin, which is Bezos.
Oh, yes, yes.
You know, they have another successful rocket program, and they've said they're planning on launching one a month. So the skies will be crowded all day.
Yeah, undoubtedly. Okay. Well, I was going to try to bring up a story that my friend Jack Overfield, a documentary that he's been working on. I still haven't had a chance to fully view it yet, but there's a great picture for his cover, and it's called The Larry Billow Story. He knew Larry back when he was working at FAA center, FAA headquarters. He and Larry developed a very close personal relationship. And he found out that Larry Billow was a B-17 pilot back during World War II. And Larry operated on a mission, Operation Chowhound. So there'll be more stories and information about Larry Billow and his life. Larry, from what I've read and what I've been involved with on this particular documentary, was a very upstanding, fine gentleman, very courteous, pleasant to work with, ready to do the job, and high degree of integrity man. And Jack had asked him what was his most memorable thing that he did in World War II, and he said that Operation Chowhound was probably one of the best. And Jack didn't even know what Operation Chowhound is, and I can tell you this, I didn't know what Operation Chowhound was until Jack mentioned to me about this story on Larry Billow. So looking forward to continuing and finishing off this project. I don't know if you're out there, Jack, but if you are, you can drop us a line and say hey. But if not, anything else from you, Fred?
No, kind of a short week. You're going to be going on a trip soon?
Yes, I am. As a matter of fact, the way I'm going to say it this way, I've been invited to go out to Lancashire, England, to be on this particular movie, and it's called Wolf Tracker. Not only be on it, but direct it. And I'm very excited. I was on with the director of photography yesterday. We went over 30 scenes as far as storyboarding goes. And 2 days ago, or 3 days before that, I was on with my first AD and the executive producer. And we discussed format and color on this picture. And we're going to shoot this on Animorphs at 239, if you're familiar with that. And I'm not going to disclose much more about it, but it is going to be amazing. So I'll let you know when I'm back. And while I'm out there on location, you might want to look me up, because I'll still try to broadcast at noon. And if I can zoom in Fred, I'll have him come up also and bring us up to speed on what's going on with the FAA. All right? So that's all I've got.
Short week.
Short week, says Fred. There was an accident. I know one more thing I want to bring up. There was an accident on a 6-passenger single-prop aircraft. I forget exactly where they took off out of. And as they were departing, the pilot got a door warning open light. And because of that, he was distracted, so he didn't maintain his airspeed, and he didn't maintain the attitude of the aircraft. So somebody actually had footage of that aircraft departing, lifting off, and you could see textbook stall, because he was not, as we pilots know, flying the plane. So the first priority, whenever there's an emergency on the aircraft, fly the plane. Because if you don't fly the plane, that's what's going to result. Gravity, which is 100%, is going to cause impact with the ground, and it's not going to be pretty. Fortunately, everybody on that aircraft, I believe, survived. So that's all I got, y'all. Stay safe out there. Enjoy each other. Engage in lighthearted, fun conversation, and learn how to love one another, okay? From Fred and I, hasta luego.
Have a good week. And remember, if the plane don't fly, it don't fly. How's that?
Words of wisdom.
Wisdom, yes.